biggest challenge.
Just staying together and not stopping. You know, we're very lucky that we've been able to stay together as friends and to keep making music. It's not very easy. We've seen a lot of bands come and go during our time, and we're just really grateful that we were able to somehow pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Steve. I mean, I guess one of the reasons we've been able to stay together is everything is a democracy, albeit a struggling one. Nobody's in charge. All four people have equal say. And that's kind of unusual. I think a lot of bands have dictators, you know, and we have a dysfunctional democracy, and I think that helps. We talk about this a lot. And in alternative music, I'm not sure it's possible right now.
I think kids are always going to want to keep making, you know, loud, obnoxious music, and it's one of the easiest ways for them to make a political statement. And hopefully that's going to come back more in the future. It's kind of at a low ebb right now.
But society, and because of social media, we're so disparate. Everybody's listening to different things, checking different things out, having different conversations. You know, when I was growing up, I grew up in a tiny island. We were all watching the same TV show at the same time of night on this, you know, and that's crazy. That will never happen again. And the world as we knew it will never ever be the same, and that's kind of intense. So I'm not entirely sure we'll ever see the same kind of cultural impact again by alternative artists. I mean, what we continue to see is the domination of mainstream artists, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and all-consuming. But the alternative voices, I think, will probably have to make do to playing on the sidelines. But then artists have always, you know, for the most part, inhabited that role. You know, they've always been on the outskirts looking in. Their work ethic is insane. I mean, they are tough motherfuckers, make no mistake. I mean, they really are. They have a lot of discipline, and they work really, really hard. You know, they still do sound checks every day. They run songs. They go over mistakes they made the night before. I guess I found that kind of awe-inspiring in a way. You know, because a lot of bands get lazy. Blondie didn't, and that's one of the reasons why they still get to play an incredible, you know, venue like this in a major city. You know,
we've been together for so long and been around, and they've been around twice as long. I mean, and so it's inspirational to see that, and you don't have to stop, and you can keep going and keep being relevant.
I mean, I guess one of the most beautiful things about the 90s was how eclectic everything was, how eclectic radio was. And you could hear, you know, a Missy Elliott track with a Fiona Apple track with a Smashing Pumpkins track and a Tupac track, you know, and so on and so forth. Everything was mixed in together and everybody had an equal share of the pie.
The video channels played all different kinds of music.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny time right now, I think, for any music that isn't pop orientated, you know. I feel like in a way, in the 90s, alternative women dominated the charts. And so we got an alternative perspective, which was a little more empowered than that perspective that we are drowned in today from female pop stars, which is a little more old-fashioned in my opinion, and a little less empowered and a little more old school, old-fashioned, sort of male-pleasing, pleasing the male gaze. I felt like in the 90s, a lot of the women who dominated the charts, we were playing with the male gaze. We were turning up on its head, and we were appealing to female gaze a lot of the time, and that felt progressive. And I feel we've taken a few steps backwards in the last sort of decade or so. You know, with someone as influential as Kim Kardashian sort of talking about waist trainers on their bodies and encouraging women to wear corsets. And I'm thinking to myself, my granny fought to get me out of a corset, and now the new generation is fighting to get back in one. That's kind of weird to me, if you know what I mean. there are so many great women out there really trying to change the way we view women and how women are treated culturally. And I would name Grimes, I think, is a phenomenal, interesting artist. I love Savages. I think, again, they're playing more on a more androgynous female perspective. I mean, there's a lot of different women doing different things. I love St. Vincent, you know, she's making beautiful records. I don't know, I could list 1,000,000,001. And
it's a long list.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's still really exciting. There's still so much great stuff being made.